I've been thinking a lot about this moment. What happens when a woman speaks and no one listens? Let me tell you a story. A few days ago, I attended a diplomatic event here in Nairobi. There was a female master of ceremony. She was very professional, articulate, competent. But as soon as she began speaking, many of the men in the audience started talking over her loudly. Meanwhile, the diplomats stood there, smiling politely, pretending to listen, but honestly, it was impossible to hear even a word of what she was saying. And then, a few minutes later, the male ambassador took the stage, and the entire room went silent instantly. He didn't have to say anything. He didn't have to give the looks. Just by his presence, everyone went completely silent. That contrast from noise to silence stayed with me. I'm Angélica Gutiérrez. Most people call me Angie. With a background in law, political science, and international relations, I have spent the past 15 years working in diplomacy, education, and gender equality, leading initiatives, negotiating UN resolutions, and shaping policy across Africa and Latin America. And this is the Warm Talks, a space for honest conversations about leadership, purpose, and the realities women face in professional spaces. Now, let us go back to that moment. A woman speaks, no one listens, a man takes the podium, silence instantly. This situation made me ask myself, why does this still happen? Why do people stay quiet for a man but speak over a woman who is doing her job perfectly? Yes, he had a higher rank, but honestly, it was very clear to me that the reaction was simply because he was a man. And this isn't just anecdotal. Research from Harvard, Yale, and UN Women shows that in professional environments, women are interrupted up to 33% more often than men, even when they hold senior positions. And when women do speak up, they're more likely to be described as too aggressive or too emotional, even when they're simply being confident. There is actually a name for this: gendered listening bias. It refers to the unconscious tendency to perceive women's voices as less credible or authoritative compared to men's, regardless of their expertise or seniority. The Harvard Kennedy School has written extensively about this, and their findings show that audiences, both men and women, are more likely to attribute intelligence, decisiveness, and leadership to speakers with deeper, slower, and traditionally masculine vocal patterns. This means that what we hear or fail to hear is not neutral. It is filtered through years of social conditioning about who sounds like a leader. And the literature in communication studies goes even further. Researchers like Dr. Deborah Tannen and Dr. Judith Baxter describe how conversational patterns in mixed gender environments reinforce these dynamics. Men tend to use report talk, focused on status and assertion, while women use rapport talk, aimed at connection and collaboration. And neither is wrong, but in hierarchical or public spaces, one style is often rewarded and the other dismissed. That's why what happened in that room wasn't just rude, it was structural. It reflected a deeper social bias about who gets to be listened to. It reflected years of social conditioning about who sounds like authority. And let me tell you, gender listening bias doesn't stop at interruptions. One of its clearest manifestations is something researchers call idea appropriation, or what many women describe as the he-peats phenomenon. When a woman shares an idea and a man repeats it a few minutes later, and suddenly the room reacts as if it were his idea. And this isn't just a feeling, it's documented. Studies published in the Journal of Applied Psychology show that ideas voiced by women are more likely to go unnoticed, unattributed, or dismissed until a male colleague restates them. When that happens, people unconsciously assign ownership and brilliance to the men, even when the women propose the exact same solution. And this affects everything, let me tell you, whose ideas shape decisions, who gets promoted, who is seen as innovative, and whose voice becomes invisible in the room. And I thought about that woman, the master of ceremony, and how she must have felt. It's not about who talks. It's about who people choose to listen to in meetings, in conferences, in classrooms. Even in moments when women speak from a place of deep expertise, the reactions they get is often filtered through stereotypes rather than substance. Too often, the most competent woman in the room is the one interrupted, ignored, or spoken over. And it is not because her ideas are weak. It is because the habit of listening to women as equals is still not as natural as it should be. I remember thinking, what should I have done in that room? Should I have turned around and asked people to keep quiet? Should she have paused and asked for attention? Or would that have made us seem too demanding, too sensitive, too loud? And that's the invisible line women walk every single day, between being heard and being labeled. And let me tell you, that's exhausting. We keep telling women to speak louder, to be more assertive, to take up space. But maybe the real question isn't why she speaks softly, it's why others aren't listening. When women stop speaking because they have stopped expecting to be heard, that's when we all lose. If you want to go deeper into this subject and learn how to make people truly listen when you speak, you can click right here on the top of this video. In the next episode, I will share simple and practical tools that have helped me, and I think they can also help you. Tools to speak with clarity and confidence, to hold a room when even when you are the only woman in it, and to turn uncomfortable silence into real influence. See you in the next episode. Bye.